Hello guys, my name is Eminale. Now we want to look at case 6. If a magnitude of force P, which when applied along the plane, we just move it up the plane. We just move it up the plane. I think this one is a capable one indeed. This mg, the weight, then the normal reaction along the or the weight along the plane perpendicular is mg cos theta, while here is what? Mg sin theta. Now, if you resolve the weight, this weight like this, along the what? Two orthogonal direction, that's what I want to have. Now, look at the board. There's something I want to show you here. Now, where will the friction act? Listen to the word. Look at the underlying word here. Up what? The plane. Then friction will come here. Anytime you just hear that word, up the plane, the force, that word, you can call it the minimum force. P can be called the what? The minimum force, or the least what? Force that we what? Move the body up the what? Up the inclined plane. I will explain why they call it the minimum force. Now, they can also call it what? What is the force responsible in moving the body up the inclined plane is P. And because the body is moving up the plane, and it will what? Fr will act opposite to the what? To the motion. It was initially here noticed in our last case 5. But now frictional force have moved here. Why? It is exhibiting his character. It's exhibiting what? His character. Don't forget that frictional force tends to oppose what? The motion of the body. He has noticed that motion is about to, his tendency of motion is upward. Then what will he do? Mr. Man will go opposite to perform his function. Because frictional force is a force that opposes what? Relative motion of two bodies in contact, that one slide over the other. Now look at the board. If that is the case, let us resolve. Now let us assume that what? Because that's why we use the word just move. But in this case, even though we use just, we still assume that what? The cases are what? Fy prime equal to 0 and fx prime is 0. Even though we know that we move it up the plane, that means in this case they assume the acceleration is what? Is 0 first. That's why they use the word just. Anytime you hear the word just move, means that the body is at rest. Constant velocity, constant what? Acceleration means that the body is having acceleration of 0. Constant velocity rather. The body is having acceleration of 0. Or when you say a body is stationary, it means that the acceleration is equal to 0. Or a body at rest, it means the acceleration is 0. So all these are terms and terminology. Or even when they use the body just about to move, all these are terms that show that acceleration is what? Is 0. So let us assume that the acceleration is 0 even when it's moving upward. Maybe it's moving upward with a constant velocity. Now let's go. So what we are going to do now is let's balance it. We are going to have P is equal to what? Which is upward is equal to what? Mg sin theta plus Fr. If I were to ask you now, this and this, these two, which one is the minimum force? The question you are going to tell me that the least force or least forces are the two combination, because we have two sides of the mass. One force here, then this combination is one. They are going down. If I should ask you what is the least force among these up and these two down, this is the least force, my dear. The two of them combined together are the least force because the body is moving up. So that's why we can call it, since we are now equating it because acceleration is 0, examiner can now ask you, or the person setting the question, now say, calculate the least force parallel to what? To the inclined plane, and that will move the body up the plane. So they are telling you to find the summation of these two, because this one is the maximum force, and why this two is mid force. This one can be maximum when the acceleration is not 0. In that case, it will be higher than the two of them. It will be bigger than two. And if this one is bigger than the two of them, it's sure that we are going to have an acceleration. But because these two now they are balancing this P at this P. That is our first assumption. It means that these two are the least force, even though they are balancing the two, in order for us to work. So that is just that. We are going to see why they are least again when we go further. Now, this one is the one along the plane, resolving what? Along the plane. Now, what about if you resolving what? Perpendicular to the plane. Perpendicular to the plane. What do we have? We are going to have what? What? This R equals to what? The reaction, which is what? Mg what? Cos theta. So what do we now have? We recall or note that what? This what? Question 2, that's question 1. Note that what? F equals to mu R. Therefore, what is the what? Frictional force now, which is what? We now be what? Mu what? Put this one there to substitute for R. We have mg what? Cos theta. We substitute R, mg cos theta for R. So now, this is the what? The formula. But we can put this one here by saying P equal to mg what? Sin theta plus, in case of R, we can place, maybe they not give R directly, you can what? Replace it with this one. Now be mu mg cos theta. Now recall, now this is the formula that you must not play with here. Although this one is also very what? Important. So if they ask you what is the least force that will cause the body to move up the plane, B. What is the minimum force required to move the body up the plane? This. What is the what? The force parallel to the plane and that will just move the body up the plane. That will just move the body up the plane is what talking about P. So please take note of all these terminologies. The minimum force that will cause the body to move up the plane, the least force that will parallel, or the least force parallel to the plane and that will move the body up the plane, the minimum force that is parallel to the plane and that will move the body up the plane. Then the what? The least what? Or that means the force acting along the plane that will just move it up the plane, which I have written on the board, that will move it up the plane, is also part of it. So these are the basics. Now, let's assume that it has an acceleration. Acceleration is not equal to 0. And now they want to consider this as a maximum force now. Now, if this one, what we want to consider is that A is not 0. Now, that is to say P will now be greater than what? Mg sin theta plus what? Fr together. Don't forget, just like, look at the board, what I'm saying now is we have what? Two forces. This is the mass on the inclined plane. I want to draw a free body diagram of what we are seeing here. Now, this Fr, which is what? Then there is what? Mg what? Sin theta. And this is what? P. If the body moves up with an acceleration A, the net force now, what is net force? Net force will now be what? P minus, because P is greater than what? Mg sin theta plus Fr together. So if it's greater than the two of them together, that means not what? Mg sin theta plus Fr all together minus, that is the net force now. Why? Because the upper one is greater than the combined what? Force. And all of them will not be equal to net force. But remember, net force also is equal to Ma according to Newton's second law. So finally, we can now say, let's equate the two of them in the case of acceleration, when you are asked to find acceleration, where acceleration is concerned. And now don't forget that this one now becomes the least what? Force. Why this one parallel to the what? To the inclined plane. Why this one is what? Maximum force parallel to the inclined plane, and that will move it up the plane. Now you now see where maximum, and initially it was behaving like minimum. But when acceleration now plays a role, when acceleration is now inside the system, when you now able to pull it up with a very bigger force that is easily seen by everyone, that is greater than the two combination of frictional force and gravitational force along the plane, then we can now call it a maximum force. So that is to say that P minus mg sin theta in bracket plus what? Fr will be equal to what? Ma. Please take note of this formula. So that is to say that in this case we assume what the acceleration is what 0, and we assume that the force that this thing is applying is a least force. But in the case of maximum force, there will be an acceleration produced. In the least force, acceleration is 0. So please take note of that. So thank you very much. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please rewatch and watch and share it to others. Let them benefit the work of this particular channel. God bless you.